I am Romaine Jenkins, and the Freeway Phantom cases will never leave me.
July 27th, 1971. A 10-year-old girl named Brenda walks out her front door in Southeast DC to buy bread and dog food. It's the kind of errand she's done a dozen times. Half a mile, maybe less. She doesn't take a jacket. She doesn't come back. 2 hours pass. Then the phone rings in the Crockett house. Brenda's 7-year-old sister picks it up and freezes. It's Brenda's voice. Alive. Quiet. She says a man picked her up in a car. She thinks she's in Virginia. She says he's putting her in a taxi, sending her home. Then the line goes dead. Minutes later, it rings again. Brenda, again. Her stepfather grabs the phone this time. She asks him one question. Did my mother see me? There's a pause on the line. A pause her family would replay in their heads for the next 50 years. Then she says 4 words. Well, I'll see you. The line goes dead. For good. Brenda's body is found the next morning. She is not the first. She will not be the last. Over 17 months, 6 girls and young women vanish from the same handful of Southeast DC blocks and turn up along the same stretch of highway. Victims of a man the newspapers will name the Freeway Phantom. A man who left a note in one victim's own handwriting, daring police to catch him. They never did. If unsolved cases like this get under your skin the way they get under ours, hit subscribe now, because you're going to want the rest of this one. This is the story Washington, D.C. has spent 5 decades trying to close. 3 months. Spring, 1971. Washington is a city consumed. Just weeks earlier, police had carried out the largest mass arrest in American history. 12,000 anti-war protesters swept off the streets in a single week. Bridges were barricaded. National Guard troops stood on street corners that had never seen them before. Every front page, every evening broadcast was about the war, the arrests, the unrest. Nobody in this city is thinking about serial killers. The word itself barely exists yet, not the way we use it today. Even the FBI hasn't fully built the language for what's about to happen 4 miles east of the Capitol. And east is exactly where the cameras aren't pointed. Across the Anacostia River sit tight, working-class black neighborhoods, communities where families have lived on the same blocks for generations, where a 10-year-old walking to the corner store alone isn't reckless. It's normal, because every adult on that street knows exactly whose daughter she is. That trust, the thing that makes a neighborhood feel safe, is about to be turned into a weapon. Nobody knows it yet, but somebody is already watching. April 25th, 1971. 13-year-old Carol Denise Spinks is sent to a 7-Eleven just over the Maryland line, half a mile from home, to pick up groceries. $5 folded in her pocket. She's still wearing her school gym clothes. She never walks back through her front door. Her family doesn't wait for police to organize a response. They go out themselves that same night, knocking on doors, checking alleys, calling her name into the dark. A local organizer, Dorothy Wheeler, helps lead the search. 6 days later, Carol's body is found. And here is the detail that should stop you cold. According to police reports from those first days, detectives asked Carol's mother, while she was still searching for her missing daughter, whether Carol might have simply run off with a boyfriend. A 13-year-old, in gym clothes, gone 5 minutes from home. It wasn't one bad question from one tired cop. It was a pattern, one survivors, journalists, and historians would point to for the next 50 years to explain exactly why this case took so long to be taken seriously. For now, there's just a name, a file, and a family with no answers. Nobody connects it to anything. Yet. July 8th, 1971. 16-year-old Darlenia Johnson disappears. Detectives are still working Carol's file when Darlenia's opens on their desk. 2 girls now, both from the same few blocks, both simply gone, as if the neighborhood itself had swallowed them. Then, July 27th, Brenda Crockett. The bread and dog food. The 2 phone calls. Did my mother see me? You already know how that one ends. 3 girls in 3 months. Same neighborhood, same age range. Bodies found in strikingly similar condition, in similar locations along the same highway corridor. And now there's something else, something that makes this worse than a string of coincidences. Whoever is doing this has a car, has patience, and, based on that phone call, has enough confidence to let a victim speak to her own family before she dies. Police can no longer file these separately. Something is happening in Southeast DC, and it has a pattern. October 1st, 1971. 12-year-old Ninomoshia Yates leaves a Safeway around 7 p.m. Walking the route home she's walked 100 times before. She is found dead within 3 hours, dumped off Pennsylvania Avenue in Prince George's County. A brutally short window between abduction and disposal that terrifies investigators, because it means he isn't hiding these girls somewhere for long. He's close, he's fast, and he knows exactly where he's going. Her shoes are missing, like Carol's. Unidentified green fibers cling to her clothes, like the others before her. Carpet, maybe, or a car interior, but no source is ever found. A witness reports seeing her climb into a blue Volkswagen. Detectives chase it for weeks, running down owners across the district and beyond. It leads nowhere. It's after Ninomoshia's murder that a Washington newspaper reaches for a name to put on the front page, a name that will follow this case into the next century. The Freeway Phantom. 4 girls dead in 6 months. 0 suspects in custody. And whoever he is just getting started. Before we go further, here's what the evidence actually tells investigators about the man they're hunting. He isn't a stranger passing through. Every single victim is taken from a route she walks constantly, in her own neighborhood, usually in daylight or early evening, meaning he's watching, waiting, learning patterns before he strikes. He holds some of his victims for hours before disposing of their bodies, always near the same stretch of the Anacostia Freeway, the road that gives this case its name. And he's disciplined. Careful. He's not leaving weapons at scenes or fingerprints on skin. But the detail that chills detectives most isn't physical evidence at all. It's control. This is a man capable of making a terrified 10-year-old girl call her own mother's house twice and sound almost calm doing it. A man who will, in a matter of months, dictate an entire note to another victim and have her write it in her own hand before he kills her. That's not a man losing control of himself. That's a man in complete control of everything around him. And there's one more thread pulling investigators toward a single, unsettling location. Nearly every abduction site and nearly every body recovery site sits within a tight radius of one building. St. Elizabeth's, a large psychiatric hospital in Southeast DC. Hold on to that name. It's going to come back. By late 1971, this is no longer a handful of open files sitting on separate desks. MPD assembles a task force. The FBI steps in, bringing forensic tools the local department doesn't have, lab work, behavioral analysis, resources no city police force could match on its own. And in the neighborhoods where these girls lived, patience is running out fast. Parents are done waiting quietly. Public demonstrations break out, residents accusing police, loudly and not without reason, of dragging their feet because of exactly who these victims were. Mothers start walking their daughters to school themselves. Curfews tighten. An entire community reorganizes its daily life around a threat police still can't name. Detectives chase everything. Reporting on the case describes a suspect list that, at various points, includes a 4-star general, a psychiatrist connected to St. Elizabeth's, even a wealthy local property developer. When your suspect list is that wide, it usually means one thing. You don't have enough hard evidence to narrow it. Every tip gets logged, every alibi gets checked, and every single one, so far, comes back empty. One lead looks different, looks real. A group known informally as the Green Vega Rapists, already under investigation for a string of sexual assaults in the same corridor. One member reportedly tells detectives he believes an associate in his own group committed the Freeway Phantom murders. Investigators lean in. This could be it. This could finally be the break that ends 17 months of dead ends. Then the man goes silent, reportedly terrified of what his own crew will do to him if he talks. Detectives push, but a witness who won't testify is a witness who can't help you in court. The lead stalls. Eventually, police rule the group out entirely. Another dead end. Another year closing in on itself, with the task force no closer to a name than the day Carol Spinks disappeared. Then, on November 15th, 1971, everything changes. 18-year-old Brenda Woodard spends her evening the way any young woman might. A night class, dinner afterward with a friend, then a bus home around 11:30 p.m. It's an ordinary Monday night, right up until it isn't. Around 6 hours later, a police officer patrolling near Prince George's County Hospital finds her body. Immediately, detectives know this one is different. She's been stabbed, not just strangled, a first for this case. Her hands show defensive wounds. She fought hard. Her shoes are still on her feet, unlike the girls before her. And someone has laid a coat gently over her body, an act that reads, disturbingly, almost like tenderness, like an apology written in fabric instead of words. In the coat's pocket, they find a folded note. Handwriting analysts confirm it. The note is written in Brenda's own hand, but detectives are certain the words themselves aren't hers. They believe the killer stood over her, or sat beside her, and dictated every line before she died, turning his final victim into his own personal messenger. The note talks about his insensitivity to people, especially women. It promises that when he's finally caught, he'll admit the others. And at the bottom, it's signed, with the exact name the newspapers gave him, underlined twice, as if he wanted to make absolutely sure no one missed it. Detective Romaine Jenkins studies that handwriting for years afterward, and notices something that unsettles her more than the words themselves. There's no panic in it. No shaking. No rushed, frightened strokes. It's neat. Controlled. The handwriting of someone following instructions, not someone who believes she's about to die. Which leads her to a theory that has never fully left this case. What if Brenda knew this man, even a little? What if she didn't understand, at first, what was actually happening to her? What if the fighting, the wounds on her hands, only began once she finally realized? Once the note was already written and there was nothing left for him to need from her. For the first time in 17 months, the Freeway Phantom has spoken directly to the people hunting him. He's told them he'll admit to everything, someday. He's told them there's more than the 4 bodies they already know about. And then, according to the case file, he goes quiet. For almost a full year. September 5th, 1972. 17-year-old Diane Williams visits her boyfriend in Southeast D.C. and never makes it home. Her body is found the next day, strangled, but for the first time, not sexually assaulted, breaking the pattern investigators had come to expect. Her family reportedly receives a phone call afterward. A voice tells them he killed their daughter. It is the last murder ever confirmed to the Freeway Phantom. And then, nothing. No 7th body. No arrest. No confession. A man capable of murdering 6 people in 17 months, of scripting his own victims' final phone calls, of signing his name to a taunt left on a corpse, simply stops. Vanishes back into whatever life he was living before any of this began. Years pass before one name refuses to leave the file: Robert Elwood Askins. His history stretches back decades before any of these girls were even born. In 1938, a 19-year-old Askins poisoned 2 sex workers with cyanide inside a Washington brothel, killing one outright, then stabbed a 3rd woman to death 2 days later. 3 attacks in 2 days at 19 years old, a warning sign, in hindsight, that no one connected to anything for the next 30-plus years. Declared criminally insane, he's committed for over a decade to St. Elizabeth's, the exact hospital sitting at the center of the Freeway Phantom map. Released in 1952, he strangles another woman that same year, proof, if anyone needed it, that a decade behind hospital walls hadn't changed anything. By the 1970s, he's back at St. Elizabeth's, this time on staff, working as a computer technician, walking those same halls every day the murders were happening nearby. A man with a documented history of killing women, employed inside the one building sitting at the geographic center of 6 more murders. Nobody makes that connection. Not yet. In 1977, he abducts a 24-year-old woman at gunpoint and sexually assaults her. It's while investigating that crime that a DC detective pulls his full history. The 1938 poisonings, the stabbing, the decade at St. Elizabeth's, the 1952 strangling, and freezes. Because here's the detail that stops the room. Askins reportedly uses the word tantamount constantly, almost like a verbal habit, a word that shows up again and again in his own speech patterns. The exact opening word of the note found folded in Brenda Woodard's coat pocket. When investigators search his home, they find a saved court document using that same word. It's the kind of coincidence that makes hardened detectives believe, for a moment, that the case is finally closed. That after everything, the dead ends, the ruled-out suspects, the note nobody could trace, they finally got him. They didn't. No physical evidence has ever tied Askins to a single Freeway Phantom crime scene. No fingerprint, no fiber match, no witness placing him with any of the 6 victims. He was never charged in this case, not once, across the rest of his life. He denied any involvement until the day he died in prison, in April 2010, still serving time for the 1977 assault. Detective James Trainum, who reopened the case decades later, put it as plainly as any investigator ever has. They tried to squeeze him into the box, and no matter how they turned it, he never fit. And just when you think that's where the story ends, there's one more thread. A 2024 investigation by the Washington City paper surfaced references to an entirely different person of interest. A car, a driver, evidence including a bloody knife and notebooks, all tied to an FBI report that, decades later, simply cannot be located anywhere in department files. If that account holds up, it means investigators may have once had physical evidence and a real, viable suspect sitting in the same room, and then lost the paper trail connecting them forever. That detail comes from a single source and hasn't been independently confirmed. But it's exactly the kind of loose thread that keeps a 50-year-old case from ever fully closing. 2 names, 2 dead ends, 0 arrests. No one has ever been charged in the murders of Carol Spinks, Darlenia Johnson, Brenda Crockett, Nenomoshia Yates, Brenda Woodard, and Diane Williams. The case is still technically open. MPD's Cold Case Unit, working alongside Prince George's County Police, has revisited the file more than once over the decades. Modern DNA testing, technology that didn't exist in 1971, has been run against whatever biological evidence survived 5 decades in storage. Evidence that had to be preserved through changing procedures, changing detectives, changing generations of investigators who inherited a case none of them were alive to witness. What that testing found, if anything, has never been made public. The families have carried this for over 50 years without a single conviction, without a trial, without a name they can point to and say, that's the man who did this. A 2019 book by researchers Blaine Pardo and Victoria Hester pulled the case back into public view, laying out the timeline for a new generation who had never heard the name Freeway Phantom. Podcasts and journalists have kept digging well into the 2020s, refusing to let it fade into the same silence that nearly swallowed Carol Spinks' case on day 1. Brenda Woodard's mother, Mary, spoke for years about the strange, small comfort of finding other mothers who understood exactly what she'd lost. A grief club none of them ever asked to join, bound together by 6 girls none of them got to watch grow up. And for Southeast DC, this stopped being just 6 murders a long time ago. It became the case people point to when they talk about how a neighborhood's race and its poverty can quietly decide how fast, or how slowly, a missing girl gets looked for. How a detective's first question to a terrified mother can be the difference between a case cracked open in days and a case that's still open 50 years later. Somewhere, maybe, is a man who murdered 6 girls and young women in Washington, D.C. A man who wrote a note daring police to catch him, who scripted a 10-year-old's final phone call to her own mother, and who simply walked away from all of it, back into an ordinary, unremarkable life. If Robert Askins was the Freeway Phantom, he carried that secret into his grave in 2010, and no one will ever hear him say it out loud. If he wasn't, the real killer may have lived his entire life just blocks from where these girls grew up. Unknown, unbothered, hiding in the most ordinary place there is, plain sight. 6 names are still waiting for an answer. Carol, Darlenia, Brenda, Nenomoshia, Brenda, Diane. The file is still open. If this case got under your skin the way it got under ours, do 3 things before you go. Subscribe, so you don't miss the next one. We've got 9 more American serial killers most people have never heard of, and every single one deserves to be remembered right. Like this video, it genuinely helps get these women's names in front of more people. And drop your theory in the comments. Askins, Torino Man, or someone whose name we've never even heard. 50 years later, the families of these 6 girls are still watching, still hoping someone out there remembers something that finally breaks this case open. We'll see you in the next one.